Good late afternoon, everybody. It's the MFHL Podcast, Episode 15 here on G-Show Productions, presented by Make Canada Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. Be sure to visit their store locations in Brandon and Winnipeg today, as well as checking out their website at makecanadafasteners.shop. They're your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs here in the province of Manitoba. We're also brought to you by Terrico, serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years in the agricultural industry. Be sure to check out their website to see why they're so trusted by Manitoba producers in the agricultural industry at terrico.ca. And to Goaltenders, your goalie's personal video review service. To check it out, see what it's all about, be sure to check out Gordy Tummelson, goalies.ca. For more details and to get in contact with the ex-Winnipeg Jets 1.0 WHA goaltender. Thank you to Goaltenders, Terrico, and Make Canada Fasteners and Tools for supporting MFHL hockey coverage here on the network, G-Show Productions. And yeah, we're into two Game 4s tonight. It could be the last night of the quarterfinals in the MFHL playoffs. Just to let you guys in on some scores to this point. From all the way from Friday, I believe, from Wednesday last week. So yeah, as you can see here, a lot of games have been played. The Yellowhead Chiefs surviving on Tuesday night, the only game that's been played in this week so far, with a 5-2 victory over the Winnipeg Avros. Eastman unable to get the job done against Interlake on Sunday night in that marathon of a game, which our stream lasted over 3 hours. Westman and the Winnipeg Ice are the only two teams to clinch their spot to punch their ticket into the semifinals, and both making it back there for another year. And we had a chance to call that game, actually, where Winnipeg did advance against the Central Plains Capitals, and Winnipeg was applying all the pressure. They had only scored one goal, and that had come in the third period against Central Plains. To beat them on the night before, to set up the opportunity to be up 2-0 in the series, and with the ice in the first period, with all the pressure, this happened.
This down low into the area for Chaplin, turned over by Central Plains behind their own net. Now Nicholas out in front, quick pass, but Ice fanning on it. Shot now through, Compton able to get their scores.
And that would end up being the game winner in that contest, getting the scoring started for the Winnipeg Ice in that one was, just taking a look at it, I believe either Chloe Delacouille or Isabella Mann getting that goal. It was Delacouille who ended up getting it. So yeah, she ends up playing hero for the Winnipeg Ice. A series where really, though, it wasn't even a competition really yet. I mean, it was close at the end of the day, but the Winnipeg, on the scoreboard, that is, in the last two games. But Winnipeg dominated possession about 9-1 all series long. Central Plains had probably their best effort of the playoffs in that game. You could also argue, I guess, the night before only giving up one goal, but they had registered the most shots they had in a game that we've seen so far here on the network, forcing Laura Melissa to make 26 stops on 26 shots faced. So yeah, this is what the playoff bracket looks like right now. The Avros and Interlake, or the Eastman selects with a chance to advance tonight. Didn't update the bracket completely, though, seeing right now that left off a win for Yellowhead. Yes, it's now 2-1 in that series. Game 4, of course, going tonight. And before we talk to anyone from the Yellowhead Chiefs, since Kirby Gray is going to be joining the show on this early edition on this Thursday, but it's going to be Annika Russell first up of the Winnipeg Ice. The only guest on this show where her team has advanced up until this point in the Winnipeg Ice. Had a chance to ask her about that first round series, what's ahead, and a bit about her golf game here coming up next on G-Show Productions presentation of the MFHL Podcast, brought to you by Make Canada Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, and Goaltenders. Annika Russell joining the show next. Number 7, an assistant captain for the Winnipeg Ice. an assistant captain for the Winnipeg Ice. Number 7, a senior on the team this season. Annika Russell. Great to have you on the show, Annika. I mean, compared to the rest of the guests, you can relax here knowing your team is into the next round for another season, making it into the semifinals. Yeah, take me through that first series against Central Plains. Obviously, a team where you girls were probably expecting to handle pretty easily, but to go out and do it, how huge was that for this Ice team in that first round?
Yeah, it was good. I'm happy for us. I'm proud of us that we were able to finish it off there. But you know what? They gave us a hard fought battle every game. And, we played smart when we played hard. And, you know what? We were able to come out with a few wins. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, and you had a huge first game of the playoffs. One of the players with the most points so far on this Winnipeg Ice team so far. To start off your last postseason run like this, talk about, I mean, I guess what it speaks to you as a player at this point to be able to contribute like this at this point in the year.
Yeah, I think that, I with the help of like my line mates and the rest of my team, I think that we all have a little bit to bring to each win that we have. And I think that it's important that we kind of recognize that and see the little things that we have to do too going on to our next round as well.
Yeah, and your head coach Eugene Kaminsky had preached about how it's very much about the team and how the systems are played and getting everyone involved, getting everyone touching the puck. We saw that on display against Central Plains. For you girls, like you said, going through a hard-fought series where Central Plains didn't allow many goals in those last 2 games, 4 combined, but to continue to keep up that pressure, to keep up that pace, how huge is that to be able to build those good habits heading into the next round?
Yeah, I think it's super important. Like you said, yeah, Eugene, Jess, Kaminsky, and as well as our other coaches, Taylor and Morgan, they let us know, you know what, like nothing's going to be easy going forward. And yeah, I'm happy that we were able to figure that out then, and hopefully we can bring it forward to the next series coming up.
Speaking of Eugene, gotta bring it outside of hockey for a moment here, Annika. You had texted me yesterday when we were setting this up saying she also played on Team Manitoba's 2023 golf team and humbled him on the course. I assume that was on the Florida trip this team took, but what was that experience like being your coach in a sport you're very good at in golf?
Oh, he's just being nice to me. He was good too, but yeah, no, it's fun. I like I grew up, my dad was really into golf. He was a golf pro, so I kind of golfed with him a lot. And, there were some other girls who actually did play hockey who were a part of that team as well. A girl from St. Mary's that I knew very well, good friends with. So it was nice that we kind of had hockey to play. And then in the summertime, we kind of worked on our golf and 2 different sports. Their golf is super, it's a very big, like, mental challenge game. And it was nice to, like, kind of find different ways to like excel in both. But yeah, but it was good. So I'm happy that me and you were able to battle it out, and it was fun though. So that's good.
It's fun to hear. Fun to hear. Favorite club to hit? What would it be for yourself?
I'd say Rossmere. I work at Rossmere, or I did in the summertime, and it's close. A lot of good people there. The course is super nice, and yeah, it's fun. Try to like it
Awesome.
there.
Yeah, it's great. Honestly, I play golf about once or twice a year, and I'm terrible at it. So it's great to hear that. I mean, you're thriving at another sport, and like you said, I mean, golf is exactly that, such a mental game. How have you, potentially brought over some of your skills from golf in terms of that mental aspect into your game on the ice?
I would just say taking one shift at a time, realizing what you've done good and pushing past the bad stuff that, maybe you had a bad shift and just you want to get it right out of your head instead of pushing on to the next shift and try and create more opportunities for yourself to do a bit better. But because obviously in the playoffs it's just a totally different, everyone's all over the place, totally different mindset for everyone. And I think it's important that, even as a team, all of us, we can battle it out and kind of work with each other to figure things out and not stress out too much about stuff.
For this team last season, I mean, the past 2 years making it to the finals, winning the championship last year, and it was a lot of dominant wins last year in terms of big scores on the scoreboard. That was the case at some points this year, but a lot more close wins for this Winnipeg Ice team, and some games where girls lost in close battles, but still finishes the top seed in the league. Eugene, I think, spoke about it and how he said it from the start. This team has a target on their back, being the defending champs, being as good as this team is. But how huge was that this year compared to last year to face some of that adversity more so and being able to win closer games and still being the first place team?
Yeah, it was a bit tougher, obviously. We have a lot of different skills and different abilities on our team, and it makes, and we have so many different things going on, it makes us successful. So I'm happy it still kind of brought us to lots of wins in our season. But then again, every team in this league is super close. Everyone's battling it out, everyone's beating everyone, and it's nice to see, and it just makes everything a lot more competitive and fun to play. But I'm happy that we were able to come out first. So
Yeah, and I guess going into that, does it make it even that much more exciting, I guess, to come out and play knowing that every team is going to be gunning for this Winnipeg Ice team? And like you said, the league is closer this year, it seems like, compared to other years in terms of, anyone from the top six teams can beat anyone out there this year.
yeah, I think that, like you just said, a target on our back, and it, like, just having that, it's just, again, a little bit of extra stress, and kind of makes us think about things a little differently. But I'm happy that we can, I hope that we can try and figure that out with each other and kind of push past that a little bit.
In your final year with the team, you've had a chance to don an A wearing the assistant captain letter, one of the players to do that this year. Talk about what it's been like being able to have that experience and just what it's been like bonding with this group of girls this year, of course, with the experienced returning players, but the new girls you've met along the way.
Yeah, I'm absolutely honored, and I just love being a part of the team, period. And the new girls, they had a great, you can see it's hard to kind of come from a different level back up into AAA, and they did a great job of figuring things out, changing their game, how they need to change it for the team. And everyone kind of, it was nice to see everyone kind of working together to get to a specific goal for everyone. So that was good to see.
Want to ask you this question, Annika, because I was talking with Ferdy Nelson when we were doing the playoff preview show here, and he had said that he feels that this Winnipeg Ice team feels that they have unfinished business, losing in two close games last year at the Western qualifiers, the Western Regional Championships, to be able to go to the ESO Cup. Is that very much the case? Is that the motivation within the room to not only get back to winning a championship, but to go to nationals this time around?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that, yeah, it was hard on everyone. We still look back and it's like, oh, like, it's just heartbreaking. But yeah, no, it's definitely a drive for us.
You know, Potentially only one more series left for this Ice team. Obviously, looking to make it two and more than that, trying to get back to Westerns. But with this being your last year, obviously you haven't committed anywhere yet, but hoping to commit and play university hockey. What would be the huge goal for you, moving forward here in playoffs, or for, I guess, this Winnipeg Ice team to truly reach this goal of winning a championship again?
Yeah, I would say just figuring out and working with each other just to get to that goal, and just, I don't even know, being happy with each other, and just like pushing each other to our limits and just seeing what we can do.
Well, we've seen this Winnipeg Ice team this season be probably the most consistent throughout the league, all things considered. And yeah, I mean, more consistency shown throughout that first round. The only team to shut out a team three times so far in the playoffs that belonging to the Winnipeg Ice. They get set to face off against, well, they're not too sure yet. It could be decided tonight. But Annika, continue to, prepare, I guess, and get set for another battle. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this Winnipeg Ice team, and even the rest of the girls are probably going to put on a show for all of us here on gshow.ca when the time comes. So thanks for taking the time, and best of luck heading forward here in the playoffs.
Thank you so much.
And Annika Russell, number 7, assistant captain for the Winnipeg Ice, having herself a great first round series, of course, scoring twice in the opening game, the opening matchup last Tuesday for the Ice in that victory. Stephanie Jacob ended up leading all Ice players in points after round 1, but Russell was right behind her with 2 goals, 2 assists in 3 games played in that full sweep. As for the Westman Wildcats, they got through the Pembina Valley Hawks, beat them in double OT in game 2, 4-3, and then 5-2 on Sunday night to make it through. They await the winner of, no matter who the second highest seed is left. I mean, they played the highest seed left is what I'm trying to say. Is Winnipeg, the Ice, they're going to reshuffle the seedings, the bracket, the matchups after the semifinals, as the team with the most points, which is the Winnipeg Ice finishing in first, takes on the team with the least points to make it through. So that could be either the Avros, the Chiefs, or the Interlake Lightning. Interlake and Yellowhead still alive. Game 4 is going tonight. Yellowhead and Winnipeg coming up at 6:30 p.m. and Eastman and Interlake tonight at 8 p.m. That matchup can be seen, of course, on G Show Productions on gshow.ca. Pre-game show for Eastman versus Interlake tonight goes at 7:50 p.m. most likely. Puck drops no matter what. At 8 p.m. Out in Stonewall. Going to be exciting to make the trip. If both these teams, though, if Eastman and Winnipeg are unable to finish it off tonight, both of these teams will be back in action on Saturday night. So Eastman will be taken on Interlake at 6:30 p.m. If there is a Game 5, Yellowhead, 7:30 at Shoal Lake. If there is a Game 5 for them. And if there is a Game 5 between Interlake and Eastman, G-Show Productions will have that series for you. That game, that is, on the network, as we've been broadcasting this series all playoffs long. But yeah, speaking of a player from a team that is facing elimination currently, Kirby Gray's Yellowhead Chiefs. She was a big part of their victory this past Tuesday, so 2 days ago, where she had 2 goals, scoring for the first time in these playoffs. Yellowhead got off to the start they needed to and would end up having a big 3-goal period in the third to win it 5-2 to force a Game 4 tonight in Winnipeg. I had a chance to talk to Kirby as she was on her way actually to getting on the team bus, on her way to this Game 4 matchup that will be played tonight at the Seven Oaks Sportsplex. So without further ado, let's bring on Kirby Gray of the Yellowhead Chiefs, leading scorer this season and big 2 goals this past Tuesday. Well, having a big Game 3 for herself against the Winnipeg Avros was Kirby Gray. Kirby, I mean, the team down 2-0 in that Game 3 matchup, a do-or-die game on Tuesday against the Avros. You come through with a huge game. The Chiefs find 3 goals in that third period. Talk about how huge it was to finally get on the board in this series against an Avros team that's been tough to beat up until this point.
Very exciting. The room was electric. Everybody was dancing around, screaming, yelling. The crowd was great. The boys in the corner were loud and noisy, and it was a very good night.
Yeah, and heard so much about just the atmosphere at Shoal Lake, with it being such a tough place to play for opponents. Of course, you girls will be on the road for this do-or-die Game 4 tonight, but just to have that crowd, like you said, speaking about it, all the support there, how huge was that for this Yellowhead Chiefs team to feed off of that energy and that victory?
It was very good. We definitely like to perform in front of people, like having
2 buses coming.
Yeah, 2 buses are coming tonight, apparently. We got a big fan bus coming, so hopefully that pulls us together a bit more. But yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and it is quite a long road trip, as you know, about a 3-hour drive. And it's great that the fans are going to be coming out, 2 buses, which is fantastic, supporting the Yellowhead Chiefs today. But in the first 2 games, the Avros get off to the lead. You girls did a good job at responding, taking that second game to OT as well, but getting off to the lead on game 3 on Tuesday night. How huge was that in terms of this team being able to get off to the fast start this time around?
Definitely built some confidence up. I think getting one right off the start kind of set the pace. They were rattled, definitely. The goalie was a bit rattled because she had no idea where that puck was. And yeah, definitely we just set the tone for the game, kept it upbeat, fun, set the pace.
You were
Good.
Yellowhead's leading scorer this season in terms of goals. You get on the board for the first time twice in that big game 3 victory. How huge was that for your confidence? You know, being able to find the net for the first time in this postseason after having so much success in the regular season, out putting that puck in the net.
Um, it was fun, yeah. I was standing there. Emma Pollock was dating puck, and the goalie coughed it up, and it was sitting right there. So put it in the net. But yeah, it was nice to get 3 points on the board and keep it rolling.
You know, Kirby, for this Yellowhead Chiefs team, of course, you've been around with this team, you know, playing with them last year too. This team went to semifinals 2 years in a row, weren't able to get the job done. I mean, there's so many experienced girls on this year's team, players that can be aging out. So, with your girls' backs against the walls, you know, going up against an Avros team tonight in another elimination game, does that give you girls even more motivation to play for the vets that could be playing their last game as a Yellowhead Chief tonight?
Yeah, everyone is trying to work like their best, their hardest to make sure that even if the outcome is not what we want, that we're leaving it all out there. It's a good game. Coach is proud of us. The grad players are happy with it. Everyone, yeah. I have faith in that we can come back and bring them back to Shoal on Saturday.
What do you feel? I mean, as a group, I guess, obviously looking to carry over that momentum from that game 3 victory. But what did you girls see in that game 3 that you feel will lead to, you know, some success down the line here in this series to force a game 5 and to potentially win it for you girls?
I think another goal right off the bat, or another 2 right off the bat, would definitely help get them rattled again. The people again, that's having people cheering and screaming and in the corner at the glass is very, like, it makes you want to play good and show off and perform. And yeah, hopefully we can just set the tone and make sure that we're leaving it all out there and not like having ifs and buts after periods and after the game.
Right, leave nothing to waste out there on the ice tonight. For this Yellowhead Chiefs team, they're about to get on a bus and make their way over to Winnipeg to take on the Winnipeg Avros, getting set for that Game 4 matchup, a do or die for Yellowhead tonight. Kirby Gray, Yellowhead's leading scorer for the 2023-2024 season, with a huge Game 3 performance, of course, with those 2 goals. Looking to replicate that tonight, along with the rest of her team. Kirby, thanks for taking the time and best of luck tonight.
Thank you for talking with me.
And cut her off just a split second short there. Thank you to you, Kirby Gray, for coming on the show. Her team, of course, getting set, prepared right now. Believe they may even still be on the road. Maybe just got there to the Seven Oaks Sportsplex. But yeah, their game 4 going down tonight there after 6 at 6:30 at Seven Oaks as Winnipeg looks to finish off the Chiefs tonight. But Chiefs won't be going down without a fight. The first time in the series they actually scored for the first time in the game between the 2 teams. To open the scoring. Winnipeg opened the scoring in the past 2 matchups and led to victories. So like Kirby said, getting that first goal is huge, and no player was bigger than Kirby Gray in that victory. Yes, she had 6 penalty minutes, a team high in that game, but she had the most points, had an assist, and a big 2 goals to get on the board in that stat category for the first time in these playoffs. Of course, for Kirby, having a heck of a season for herself, scoring 15 goals, I believe, in the regular season. We'll fact check that coming up later on. Coming up shortly here on this next transition, we're going to take it to some award honors in terms of players who ended up getting recognized for player and goaltender of the week. Coming up next here on G-Show Productions on MFHL Podcast, episode 15. And more guests to come as well. Highlights to be shown still as well. Welcome back to the MFHL Podcast, everybody. Is just taking a look at Kirby Gray's stats this season. So she actually finished with 14 goals, not 15. My apologies on that. It is her second season with the team. So yeah, take a look at this again, just to completely get this 100% here. And sorry, it was Derek Thompson who was Yellowhead's leading scorer this season. But Kirby Gray was second on the team in goals, one behind her with 14. Well, that's a bad mistake by me there. My apologies for that. But yeah, let's get into the Player of the Week awards for the last week of the regular season, as well as the first round of playoffs through the first week. Player of the Week for Week 19 was Shan Scott Cook. She's been great as a rookie this season. Has shown she can be physical as well, but can also do some really good things with the puck. Good positioning too, and hey, I mean, she was able to have a big game in that regular season finale against the Interlake Lightning, where that was long ago at this point, as these two teams in one tight battle in this 5-game series happening in the quarterfinals right now. But 8 goals and 9 assists in her rookie season as a select. Bright things ahead for Miss Scott Cook heading into the latter part of her MFHL career, the upcoming seasons. For Addison Tomes, great season for her. One of the best records in the league, one of the best save percentages in the league as well, and finish it off with a shutout. For Tomes, going to be interesting if she gets the start tonight. I think she probably will. She's had some time to rest, and she did end up back on the bench. Oriana Kennedy, of course, doing a good job in her absence, which we'll get to in just a moment. But yeah, congratulations to Addison. Bright future ahead for her as well in this league. As for the Week 20 Player Awards, first week of playoffs, really not that much of a surprise here. Stephanie Jacob ends up leading her team in points at the end of round 1 with 5 in 3 games. She was the leading point getter, the leading goal scorer in the league this season, and won MVP, the league's top scorer and top forward. So congratulations, Captain Jacob, Captain Ice, for winning that award. And for the Winnipeg Avros, Madeline Sylvester started her playoffs out pretty good, able to win in 2 games so far. She ended up losing on Tuesday, but a perfect week for her to start things off, making some huge saves in 2 huge games for this Avros team to get off to the 2-0 series lead they're in. So congratulations to all the players in the MFHL for receiving those awards. We'll have some more Player and Goaltender of the Week awards to report next week as well. And also check out the MFHL on X. We're going to be showing these next week, but they've announced their award winners for this season. Congratulations to Stephanie Jacob, Hallie Franklin, winning top defenseman for the Westman Wildcats, and every other player who took home awards this season in the MFHL. Speaking of MFHL action, we've talked about getting to this. We're going to get into it now. Wow. Sunday was a marathon. It felt like the game wasn't going to end. Eastman and Interlake battled all the way into OT. It was tied at 3-3. It went into double OT, and the game almost had to be rescheduled and replayed again because that's the rule, I believe, in the MFHL, when a game can't be finished in double OT. So, yeah, either of these teams, they were looking to, get a win on their side. For Eastman to punch their ticket into the semifinals, and for Interlake to stay alive for just at least one more game. And here's how it all went down. To start things off in this game, within the first 2 minutes, Addison Tomes, unfortunately, running into her own teammate, or her own teammate ran into her on the back check, causing a huge collision. Interlake would score on the play. Tomes would be down for quite a while, but she would finally get back up onto her skates. Oriana Kennedy would come in for relief of number 34, where she looked pretty good, but down 1-0 here as Ginger Fast on the ice, number 8 for the Eastman Selects, making a great play along the boards, blocking that pass up with her shin pads and taking it the other way to tie the game at 1 apiece. And for Ginger Fast, I mean, she had her fingerprints all over this game, and this next play
off
is
of the boards, but just out of the reach for Ginger Fast. Gets it back, though, Fast to the net. Boyley scores!
It would be Fast's second assist of the game, third point of the game, to break the tie at 3-2 now for Eastman, but Interlake would end up responding in the next period after things couldn't be knotted up at even in the end of the second period. Interlake would get good zone possession into the select zone, get on the forecheck, tying up Cassie Lesage behind the net, and Interlake able to dig this puck out, get that in front. Barilski with the initial chance, and then Georgia O'Neill putting it away to tie this game up at 3 apiece. These two teams would be scoreless for the remainder of regulation, sending it to OT. The first overtime wouldn't settle anything, and it will lead to this crazy sequence.
Can't quite. It'll be a select taken down. No call on the play. Heidinger from the high slot, and it turned aside by Halldorson, who's slow to get up. Lost her balance. Halldorson needs to get up now, or else it's over. Oh, what a save by Halldorson. Still loose. She's sprawling on the ground. Can't find the puck, and that will be out of the net.
And a penalty shot on the play. Rachel Halldorson, one of many ridiculous saves she made in this game. And right after this sequence, having to go up against Danielle Hepner on the penalty shot with the series on her stick, taking it left into the center, into the hash marks, and Halldorson able to wait her out, and Hepner ends up going up high. So with a chance for Eastman now to get this back to the point, this will happen.
Here goes Interlake. Wong with the chance, gets that up to Winross. Her shot, scores! Brianne Winross plays hero here tonight for Interlake. They will fight to see another day in these playoffs.
Number 16, Brianne Winross, plays hero for the Interlake Lightning on Sunday night, and man, it was a phenomenal game, phenomenal atmosphere within it. And, I mean, look, in that game, I'd say for the first overtime period, it was Interlake that was all over Eastman for the most part. Things kind of changed near the start of double OT, where Eastman was all over them, but the difference in that game truly was Rachel Halldorson, in my opinion. She not only made that save, but saved one off of a breakaway break chance that Heidinger had in the first OT, or it was either first OT, I believe. Ginger Fast had a chance coming down late in the game as well. She had 3 points, played phenomenal. I'd say Eastman's best player in that game. But yeah, credit to Eastman for being able to stay in it. Obviously having a great backup in net who was able to come in and fill in nicely for Addison Tomes and Oriana Kennedy. And yeah, she made some impressive stops. Eastman was able to, find ways to beat Halldorson, and even though she isn't at 100%, she still played at a very high level. Like, the way this series is going, it's been 2 3 close games now, all decided by 1 goal. It all comes down to players and these teams playing a consistent 60 minutes. We've seen at times where Eastman has kind of gotten on their heels and Interlake is up the pressure and continue to maintain their pressure that they've put on the Selects. So with Interlake having nothing to lose heading into tonight, again with their backs against the wall, again I'd say all the pressure is on Eastman heading into tonight's matchup. And for a group where, yes, they have experience, it's kind of uncharted territory, like I said, being a favorite in this series and now in a position, unlike last year, to close off a series. They'll have one more chance tonight to do so, at least 2 more chances if they lose. Their playoffs aren't over, as it'll force Game 5 coming up this Saturday, if that is the case in Niverville. But Eastman still in high spirits, and one of their players that has been really great throughout these playoffs so far is Sophia Heidinger, number 16, has 3 of Eastman's 7 goals so far. She was big time in that Game 1 victory, scoring the opening 2 goals of the playoffs for Eastman. I had a chance to ask her about, how playoffs have been so far, how this team is feeling. Asked her about the marathon that was Sunday night and, what it's going to take down this Interlake Lightning team to send them home for good. You're watching the MFHL podcast. More to come here with Sophia Heidinger after this transition on a loaded lineup. Stick with us. Number 16 having herself a series so far for the Eastman Select. Sophia Heidinger joining this edition of the show. Second year forward of the Eastman Select. Sophia, your team is 1 win away from making it into the semifinals. Had a chance to finish it off on Sunday, but of course falling just short in that marathon of a game in double OT. Take me through what it was like playing in that type of matchup and what it felt like after.
On Sunday, it was a very tight game, like throughout the whole game. Our starting goalie ended up getting hurt within the first 3 shifts. And then it was a tight game since, and then ended up going 3-3 into double overtime, which then Interlake ended up scoring halfway through, I think. It was so tight, just making sure you know what you're doing when you go on the ice and make sure you have your teammates' backs and supporting each other on the bench.
Yeah, and that was tough to see Addison going down the way she did off just an unfortunate play. About 4 players going for the same puck at once. And it was fortunate to see her back on the bench, though, to see her cheering you girls on. But yeah. I mean, in a matchup like that, it's been kind of the same throughout the whole series so far. 2 goal wins for the team. Can you speak about what it's been like going up against an Interlake team that's made it so tough as they have so far?
Yeah, definitely. Interlake has been wanting it for sure. You can tell by the way they come out and they play all 3 periods. Knowing that we have to play all 3 periods to push against them and make sure we get lots of shots on the net, passing as we play a passing game, trusting each other, communicating on and off the ice, and just having each other's backs and understanding where everyone's coming from.
I want to take it back to Game 1, Sophia, because we've called 2 of the games so far, and Interlake, came out looking like the stronger team. You girls seemed to find your way through that first period. Talk about how huge that was in Game 1 to not only go up 2-0, but what it was like for yourself being able to score those 2 goals.
It was definitely hard to I think we kind of just didn't expect how they'd come out, definitely how hard they came out, and then we picked up the pace, talked to each other with my line mates that helped me get those goals, and our power play line working and just knowing where each other are at all times on the ice and communicating if we change and understanding each other and where we need to be, because that's a big role in the whole game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And seeing you've done a good job of being able to find the right places to be on the ice to set yourself up for one-timers, also making good passes. You have 3 goals so far in 3 playoff games. This is your second year with this squad. Talk about how nice it's been to get off to the start you've been able to so far in your second season in the playoffs.
It was definitely a big difference between first year and second year. First year was more nervous. This year you kind of knew what was going to happen compared to last year. And around the same girls we added 6 new girls onto our team this year, or yeah, 6 to 10 new girls onto our team. So knowing that we trust each other and like who's where and who's on the ice with you at all times, our plays and all that, just to understand and to know each other and be positive on and off the bench.
Yeah, and you were one of those returning players this year, a year under your belt in the league from going through a full season last season. You had career highs in your stats and, almost every single stat category that is. But was it just a feeling of you being more comfortable, more confident in what you were doing out there individually to have this type of success leading up to the playoffs?
Definitely knowing who you're on with, so line mates, practicing with them, but we also change lines very often as a team, so we know how to work with everybody on the ice. So I know how to work with every single forward on the ice. They know how to work with me. Maybe you have to adjust your game a little, and we've been practicing lots with lines and new lines. So it's definitely you can be very versatile.
Yeah, and I've had a chance to speak to your head coach on numerous occasions, Todd Mason, this season, talking about how this team can win in so many different ways. And I feel like this also points to that. How huge is that truly? I mean, you've spoken about it already, but if one line isn't working, you know that another line can work with just the unreal chemistry that's been built throughout this team this year.
Yeah, definitely. Our coaches have a big role within it all, deciding who's on whose line and all the uh, power play, penalty kill, who goes where. They understand how like our line should be and who should be with what. And if we need to switch up, people can switch very quickly. And yes, not everybody's going to have a great game, but everybody plays very well on our team.
This season for Eastman, from what I've done through my research, looks like it was a career best year in terms of the franchise having its highest record, finishing tied second, losing out on that tie break to Westman. You girls could have a chance to face off against Westman in that next round, but first things first, of course, trying to take care of business in this round. Interlake themselves also having their best season in franchise history. We've talked about how close it's been already. Talk about how much this excites this Eastman Selects team, though, knowing that you have to work from it from the very start to try to get to that next round against a very competitive Interlake team.
It definitely drives all the girls with their competitive side of each other, knowing like all the teams are so close, we have to win these games and having to work hard in all the games, practices, and the workouts so that we can be the best who we are. And like every team's close this year. Anybody could be anybody, which is proven throughout the season. So it definitely shows that like it all the stats are so close.
Yeah, and you're not wrong about that. A very competitive MFHL playing field this season. Game 4 tonight, potentially a game 5 on Saturday. You girls, of course, looking to not make that a reality, trying to finish it off tonight. But from what you girls have seen so far from Interlake, from a player's perspective, what's going to be the biggest factor in coming away with a victory or coming away with a loss tonight?
Definitely, we need to play all 60 minutes of the game, all 3 periods, lots of shots, getting on the rebounds, passing because we play a very passing game, knowing who we're on with at all times and what plays we're gonna do, just understanding everything on the ice and having your head up and looking around. Just we have to trust each other on the ice and use communication for that.
Well, Sophia, it's going to be exciting to see what happens tonight between these two teams. As G-Show Productions will be there to be calling this game. Sophia has 3 of the 7 goals that Eastman has scored so far in these playoffs, looking to, of course, contribute to her team on the scoreboard and help them move through to the semifinals tonight. Number 16, second-year forward of the Eastman Select, Sophia Heidinger, joining this edition of the podcast. Sophia, thanks for taking the time and best of luck tonight.
Thank you so much.
And Sophia Heidinger, number 16 of the Eastman Selects, joining this edition of the MFHL podcast, of course brought to you by Terrico, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools and Goaltenders, as you'll see coming up next. As for, though, the stats leaders so far in the MFHL playoffs, as we can see there, Ginger Fast tied for third, I guess, technically, in points since there's a tie at the top. 1 goal, 4 assists. Her biggest game coming in Game 3. As for the goal scorers so far, Sophia Heidinger in the top 5, ranking tied for 3rd with Carlin Goods and Callie Hillhurst of the Westman Wildcats. As for assists, well, I'd say Interlake's best player outside of Rachel Halldorson in this series is Brooke Barilski. She's made such an impact on all ends of the ice so far, has been creating a lot of offense, and rewarded for that. Tied for the most assists out of any player in the MFHL playoffs to this point, along with one of the big-time players on the opposition and Ginger Fast. So interesting to see the logjam near the top there in terms of assists. And yeah, thought I'd show all the goaltender stats here. I mean, look at Elise Denbo's save percentage. She couldn't have played much better, maybe a bit, but like, yeah, I mean, 935 save percentage and going home. That's crazy. But yeah, Oriana Kennedy, like I said, really good performance when she stepped in for an injured Addison Tomes in that matchup. Tomes is tied with Sylvester and Melissa for most wins in the MFHL playoffs. That title, though, for now, belonging to Danica Avro with 3 wins at that. And as for Rachel Halldorson, well, she's got her first win of the MFHL playoffs and one of the best save percentages so far, making a huge impact as this is her last run in the playoffs. Could be her final game tonight, but in talking with Rachel, she's in great spirits, fired up, and it's full belief for Interlake that they could potentially get back and tie up the series and force a Game 5 for probably the final time here for the MFHL season in terms of interviewing Rachel Halldorson. Well, she joins the show next here on MFHL Podcast, Episode 15. Number 30, former Team Manitoba goaltender, and now with her and along with their other teammates with their backs against the wall here, and an elimination game coming up tonight on G-Show Productions. It's Rachel Halldorson. Rachel, it was Marathon Sunday this past weekend. I mean, a double OT game. You make 2 huge saves in overtime to keep your team alive in the season, making a huge save on a penalty shot, of course. Brianne Winross finishing it off. Take me through what it was truly like experiencing playing in that crazy game.
Honestly, by the end of it, I was so mentally and physically tired. It was actually really crazy, but it was really fun. We just had to keep in it. We just had to keep pushing. We had to stay pumped up and just like stay on them no matter what, because Eastman is a strong team and they have great players. So, you know, if we just stayed on them, and then having that 2-on-1 just helped, and rescoring that goal just boosted everything up.
Yeah, and I mean, you're darn right about it being close, and for Eastman being such a good team this season. But like I said, it's been close. I mean, all games in this series have been decided by 1 goal. It was like that for most of the season series. But to be able to get that effort level from this group in a do or die game, what does this truly say about this Interlake Lightning team, about their effort level?
Honestly, this team will push through anything. I think when they really dig deep, they have all the energy in the world and they can push through everything. And then if they have that energy and they have that drive at that game or all the games, I think we have a great chance on winning.
This team won 10 games for the first time, which I've seen in Interlake's franchise history. You were a big part of that, winning 6 of the 10 games. You finished with a 947 save percentage this season, and I think you were among the finalists for the top goaltenders in this year's MFHL season. But for yourself, Rachel, to have this type of year in your last year, what's it been for you? What's it felt like for yourself being able to leave such an impact in your final year here on the program?
Honestly, it's very honoring, I'd say, because it's a great group of girls. They've helped me become better just like I've helped them. So I think we're all pushing each other in the end, but just having the success we had this year with all the records we've broken, it's quite awesome for our Interlake program too. So, and having to have an impact on that myself is just it's awesome. I'm excited to see where the team goes after this, and hopefully it keeps going.
It was reported actually that you weren't even going to play in this series by Ferdy Nelson, and there was talk around the league how you were going through some sort of injury. You didn't play in game one, but you were ready to go for game two. Can you take me through what it was like, getting ready and prepared to battle through whatever you were battling through to get set to play in game two?
Honestly, I wasn't supposed to. But I need to use that extra drive. I just wanted to end off the season with a good note, play playoffs. If I could have at least played one game, it would have been okay with me. And getting to play two has been awesome. But, I really had to work hard and persevere through the injury. And it's been tough, and there's going to be a lot of rest afterwards. But I think it was a good idea, but not a good idea in the same sense. So I think you just got to try to push through those, and then now it's time for recovery after this.
Yeah, and I mean, it is playoff time at this point. There's been so many players throughout the history of hockey in many different leagues that have played through injury and been able to also show some great results. And you've done just that so far. How huge has it been for yourself, to come out? Yes, you lose that game two, but you only let in one goal. But to come out and to find your game on elimination Sunday for you girls, winning in that double OT game, does that, raise a boost in your confidence at this point, knowing that even not at 100%, you can still play at this high level that you have in these past two games?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's helped with my confidence and just helped me realize that I can persevere through a lot more things than I thought. And, I could use it and try to help my team succeed just as much as they can help everybody else.
This Eastman Selects team, a team that, has been solid defensively all season long and can put up offense. But you girls have been able to stay close with them all season long, pretty much, except for that final shootout loss of the season. You girls beat them in the first meeting of the season, the regular season. Of course, all games have been decided by one goal in this series. Talk about how you feel this Interlake Lightning squad can match up so well with this Eastman Selects team.
Yeah, Eastman is a very, very good team. I'm not gonna lie. So they have been a hard team to play against, but I think we've been right up there with them, and we are trying to play just above their level, exceed their level, just to help us a bit more too. And honestly, I think we could pull it off. I think we just all got to show up. We'll show up with the effort, the confidence. Everyone's got to be pumping each other up. I think if that all happens, I think we'll have a good chance.
Yeah, and one thing that was also notable and has been every time we've come out to broadcast games for Interlake has been just the support from the crowd, the parents. That was in full force this past Sunday. Talk about how huge that's been for the group, being able to feed off of that energy that the loud Interlake crowd has provided.
I think it was good for our group of girls because I think it just helped. It just made all of us so happy and so pumped up, just the way they were pumping us up and they were cheering. They were all in our jerseys. They all had pom-poms, funky glasses, and their big horns. So, honestly, I think them just going crazy about us just helped us just persevere a little bit harder.
And we'll have the home crowd tonight again in Stonewall coming up. Matchup where this time Eastman's in your girls' territory on your home turf. How huge is that to be back at home for this game, for a do or die game once again?
I think I'm pretty happy about it. I'm pretty excited. I think the girls were in our home barn, our actual home barn, because second game was in Warren. So be back in our home barn and just in our own dressing room, just having that culture and stuff is just going to be good for us, I think. And then having all the parents there to cheer us up, all the crowd. I think, just being back there, I feel like it's going to help us a little bit more and just to help us push a little bit harder.
Rachel, I'll end off with this. If this happens to be your final game as an Interlake Lightning tonight or within these next two games, I mean, there's been no question you've left your mark on this program, you've been able to go play at the provincial level for Team Manitoba at various different tournaments and been recognized as one of the best goaltenders in the league, earning the second team All-Star this season. You'll be going off to university next year. Interlake's been a huge part of your life here in hockey. So looking back at all the time and the memories, can you talk about what it's truly been like being in Interlake Lightning and, I guess the gratefulness you've had for playing for this franchise in a way. Talk about, I guess, reminisce about your time a bit with Interlake here.
It's going to be tough leaving, I think, even if tonight's our last game or whenever it could be. I think it's going to be a tough one. I've been in the Interlake program for 6 years now, so I've spent a very long time with this program, and it's been a blast. I have no complaints. Yeah, we may not have been a strong team before and used to never win a game, but I think it was just the group of girls. None of us were too cocky or anything. Like we went out there to have fun. We played together. We grew lifelong friendships. Like it's been so memorable, and I'm never gonna forget it. It's just been a phenomenal time.
Well, this Interlake Lightning team looking to continue to have some fun tonight and continue to play their hearts out, looking to force a Game 5 for Saturday to be played in Niverville against the Eastman Selects. Rachel Halldorson, number 30, superstar goaltender for Interlake. The Lightning joining this edition of the MFHL podcast. Rachel, best of luck tonight to you and the rest of the team, and G Show Productions will be there to call it. We can't wait.
Thank you.
And number 30, Rachel Halldorson, joining this edition of the MFHL podcast. Her team will be in action tonight. She'll be getting the start at 8 p.m. Central Time. Puck drops at the Veterans Memorial Sports Complex in Stonewall, Manitoba. As for the Yellowhead Chiefs and Winnipeg Avros, they're close to being an hour and a half away from puck drop. Just over that at this point as puck drops at 6:30 p.m. at the Seven Oaks Sportsplex, or known as Seven Oaks Arena. And just for one last time to show you all, if the Chiefs and Lightning are able to win tonight, they'll extend their series to Game 5s on Saturday. The lowest seed advancing through will be taken on the highest seed remaining, which will be the Winnipeg Ice. Westman will get whatever team doesn't finish coming through as the lowest seed. So be sure to check out MFHLU18AAA.com for all the details in terms of how the scores are going down in the playoffs, the upcoming games, the stats leaders, and all that can also be seen here on this podcast weekly on the MFHL podcast on gshow.ca. But to see all the in-depth full stats in full, be sure to check out the league's website. We are going to take it to one last transition here, and I'll be back with some final words on episode 15 of the MFHL podcast. Stick around. Well, you've made it to the end of this podcast for episode 15 of the MFHL podcast. I've been your host, Graham, the G Show Forsyth. If you did enjoy this edition of the Manitoba Female Hockey League U18 AAA show, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future uploads for when this podcast comes out. We're planning to have it come out next week on Wednesday night. Decided to air it a day later than we had usually promised to release it on, usually being on Wednesdays. Only thought it made sense since we had an MMJHL game to broadcast last night, and tonight we got Game 4 of the Interlake Lightning and Eastman Select Series. So thought it would be only right to air this podcast here to get you all fired up for this upcoming matchup tonight. It can be seen on gshow.ca. Puck drops at 8 p.m. We'll have our pregame show in Stonewall at 7:50 to get you all set for that matchup coming up. Thank you to Rachel Halldorson, Sophia Heidinger, Kirby Gray, and Annika Russell for being the guest in this week's edition of the podcast and joining the show and making it spectacular. Thank you to Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools Terrico and Goaltenders for sponsoring this edition of the MFHL podcast and for supporting the league and G Show Productions here on gshow.ca. And we could be broadcasting a game coming up on Saturday we may not. This may be the last time these two teams play tonight as Eastman looks to finish it off. Gonna get set to make my way out to Stonewall now, everybody. If you're making your way out to the game, drive safe out there. I know I'm gonna try my best to. And yeah, for next week, when I see you guys next time, probably on Wednesday, I've been your host, Graham the G Show Forsyth, giving you the salute, peace and out, and saying so long, everybody. Take care.